I like it. I like it. What the heck's going on out here? Huh? What's going on out here? All lives matter. All lives matter. All lives matter. Not just one particular species, but all lives matter. We're all equal. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. Lincoln said that we was all equal. You better care what Lincoln said. That's what our government is established off of. It ain't just Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. All lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Black lives do matter, but so does red lives. So does white lives. So does yellow lives. All lives matter. All lives matter. It ain't just black lives. It's all lives matter. If you're going to be fair, what's fair for the goose is fair for the gander. All lives matter. Not just black lives, but all lives.
We love you.
We love you too. But get it right. Get it right. Quit exacerbating the problem. Stop exacerbating the problem.
Traffic.
Stop exacerbating the problem. All lives matter. All. A-L-L. There we go. Lowering the crane. I don't know if they're going to hook onto something or not. Looks like the guy's bringing the double choker. Yep, they're hooking onto the double choker. Looks like he's going to bring some boats up there to him. He's got that attached to the headache ball. You know, it's something that they can spend $14.2 million, or that's what the estimate is right now. I'm sure it'd probably exceed that, probably about another $500,000 or better, before they finally get through painting their post and putting up their flags and making sure that they've got this and got that and special carpet here and special carpet there and cabinetry and lighting and all the above. But you would think that a town as big as Martin that can afford to build something like this, that they would at least have the decency of being able to say, Juby, we was wrong, or our police department was wrong in trying to mark you as you being a homegrown terrorist. And we're making an official apology to you. And here's this amount of money to confiscate that in which what has happened here wrongly, because you was treated wrongly in regards to what happened. But no, I don't get no volunteer apology out of Martin, Tennessee. I don't get no volunteer apology out of Weakley County, Tennessee. I don't get no volunteer apology out of the state of Kentucky. I don't get no volunteer apology out of Land Between the Lakes. I don't get no volunteer apology out of the authorities there in Oklahoma City. And I don't get no apology out of GBI, Georgia Bureau Investigations, pertaining to downtown Atlanta, whenever they basically costed me my job towards working for Classic Collision down there. And I haven't gotten no apology from the United States government coming from the federal government, from Homeland Security, or any department that's even associated with Homeland Security in regards to Secret Service of the President of the United States. So because of it, harsh things continue to keep happening to the people here in America again and again and again, until eventually they'll figure out that this honor system that I felt like had already been picked up on by and large by the Christian society here in America, this honor system, they have blowed on making negotiations on the front end, and now they'll be forced to have to make negotiations on the back end. You know, I was just talking to my son day before yesterday that's working for one of the biggest concrete pumping outfits in the nation. Matter of fact, the world. And he made arrangements because he basically cut his teeth down in Memphis, Tennessee, working for another concrete operating pumping outfit. He made arrangements, rather than ask for $1 an hour more a raise, the outfit that bought him out, he went to work for under the pretense that he would get credited for the seniority that he'd done already put in for the first concrete pumping people, which was give or take about 7 years. So he got grandfathered in, or penciled in, because of good negotiation skills, of being able to get penciled in, of now looking like on paper that he has worked 14 years for this biggest company in the United States, or the biggest company in the world, concrete pumping outfit. In reality, he only worked 7 years for this outfit. But the fact of the matter is, he done his negotiation on the front end, which that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But keep in mind, I've been waiting for the honor system to take place pertaining to the people in this area to make amends towards what that they had done, or what that they didn't do to and for the ministry, the Windmill Ministries, and I have yet to be reconciled for that in which what has happened. And because I have not been reconciled towards that in which what has happened, their tallying keeps going up in regards towards minusing and deducting and bringing a indebtedness up into this country to the point that basically they're becoming broke, because everything they do basically backfires in their face, including the negotiation skills that Donald Trump has tried to disperse unto society since he's been president. So I sat back with all cautiousness. I sat back with all types of patience, because vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I sat back and wait for the people to finally wise up towards what the heck is actually going on here, since the Berlin Wall fell after 1988 during Ronald Reagan's administration, going into Mr. Bush's administration. I sit back and I wait for the people to do the right thing and wake up. But apparently, one harsh event that usually leads into another harsh event does not go nowhere, because the people are dumbfounded. They're brainwashed. They've been bamboozled. They've been deceived. And they don't realize that it is God, I repeat, it is God Almighty that allows for the hardship to either fall upon to a great nation such as the United States, or it is God Almighty that will abundantly bless that nation. And since 1988, this country has went backwards in just about every method and in every way that you can imagine. That's not theory. That's not philosophy. That's not ideology. That's factual. These guys are picking up and rolling these beams around, waiting for the right kind of hookup. And I don't know if they're just having trouble identifying the right number on the right beam, looking for the right number on the right beam, because each beam is marked. A24B, 124.7, 624, whatever. Every beam is marked, because that's how the architect determines on what beam goes where. And there's always a possibility that the architect messed up. There's always a possibility that the person marking the beams may have marked the wrong beam with the wrong number. Or it's always a possibility that the beam just didn't hear that they're looking for pertaining to the mark, the number. I'm sure they'll find it. I'm sure they'll figure it out, because sometimes it's a puzzle. And whenever they lay that material out, they're supposed to lay it out to where all your A sections is over here, all your B sections is over here, all your C sections is over here. They're supposed to lay it out to where it's not as complicated. In other words, you coordinate it and organize it. That way, whenever you do get ready to actually erect it, it's not near as complicated. That's the way they're supposed to do it. Now, they may add some new hands. They may not have taken all the right precautions. And then again, there's always that possibility that something else could have occurred that could be complicating things that much more. Sit back here and see what's going on real quick with the steel erectors, iron workers. I'm going to pull up a little bit, just long enough to get a little closer. That way maybe I can figure out what's going on here. Yep, they're lifting them big old beams up, moving them around. Looks like they have fallen in the mud. Them are just short connection beams. Nothing elaborate, nothing big. but it's still part of the makeup of the original design of the building. And each piece has its own little particular petition in what it does and why it's put in the place that it's put there. It's built for strength, it's built for endurance, it's built for stability, and the architects that design this building, any building, puts all that into the perspective before they ever finish out a building, of knowing where the stress points are, knowing where the pressure points in the building is going to be, what beam is going to have to hold what weight, what section is going to have more on it than another section, depending upon the size of the beam. Whether or not it's a 4-hole connection or 8-hole connection or a 12-hole connection. Of course, the more boats, 3/4-inch boats, the more strength that comes in that joint. On your bigger stuff, it even becomes even more complicated. This project here isn't really that complicated other than your stress points. But on a bigger job, like an Empire State Building, like the Sears Building or the John Hancock Building, those buildings have to be designed to be able to shift and move and have a certain amount of tolerances towards being able to stand 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds. Because you take like your John Hancock Building or your Sears Tower Building, give or take on any given day, the very top of that building is liable to shift 2 to 3, 4 to 5, maybe even 6 foot, swaying up in the air in one direction or the other. So everything has to be adjustable, flexible, including the very glass that the pane is setting in, to the point that the pane itself will move, but the glass won't, because naturally glass is going to break if you try to put stress levels on it. But the pane that it's setting in can move, it can fluctuate. I used to do this type of work, is the reason why that I know so much about it in regards towards hanging steel. In 1979 was when I fell off a 4-story building there in Milan, Tennessee. Now he's fixing to take his fork truck and lift up another beam to get it out of that section there, to put it over there to where the big crane won't have to move. That way they can make that connection. Those are nice fork trucks. They're worth their weight in gold. See, he's picking up this beam right now, just to move it closer to the crane, to where the crane won't have to move. They know what they're doing. Oh, they're supposed to. Now the big crane now is lowering the big headache ball that I said weighs 400 pounds. And you wouldn't think that that little ball from this distance, or even that distance, would weigh 400 pounds. But it's solid steel. They're going to hook on. Looks like they're going to have possible a double or a triple beam hook. We've done that time and time again before too, on this particular little hookup that they're hooking up right now. He's moved in our way. Sorry about that to my viewers. This guy in the blue, he had to move his choker down a little bit because the beam was too unlevel as he was picking that particular beam up towards going to move it. In other words, he didn't have it centered right. Now he's got it centered better. See how straight the beam is? Pick that beam up, and that beam's almost perfectly straight across. That means that he's got the center point just about perfect. Yep, they're doing a double is what they're doing. That way, actually they're doing a triple. They've got 3 smaller beams on one hookup. We've done this many a time, sometimes even on the bigger stuff. They'll move around into position. That way the crane operator ain't got to swing back and forth 2 or 3 different times. They can do it all at one time. Crane operator's taking the beams over where they need to set. Iron workers are waiting for the beam. I see one on the beam and one on the lift unit down there. We've actually done the 3 little ones the same thing as having 3 big beams attached on the one hookup. Makes the job go easier, providing that you got an operator that feels comfortable enough to do something like that. Not all operators are comfortable in doing a double or triple hookup like that. But those that are, usually are well worth their money towards what they do. Like I said, this guy here in the blue fork truck, he's moving this beam around now. That way they don't have to remove the crane, because it takes give or take about a half hour to move that crane around, maybe even longer than that. It's got big outriggers on it that you got to move stuff around, pull the outriggers in, and all right, let's pull around to the other side. I didn't realize that it was going to be this busy this time of the day here on this particular street. I guess with it being 12 o'clock is the reason why. Let's go this way real quick. Turn my blinker on. Green light. You can go, Dennis. There they are now. They set the one little beam. Now they're setting the second beam. And once they get it set, then they'll go ahead and set the third beam. Makes the job go so much smoother towards being able to accurately do that. That's professional iron workers. That way you eliminate 3 different drags coming from the crane operator and basically doing the exact same thing at the exact same point. In other words, they're setting 3 beams on one hookup. Those are some tough guys to be doing that. Tough guys. Have somebody in behind me. God, it's busy this time of day. I wasn't thinking about it being dinner hour. Alright, let's go back by the protesters one more time. Hopefully they won't say anything to me this time. The fact of the matter is, all lives matter. Not just one particular ethnic group, not just one particular color, but all lives matter. What did you say? No justice, no peace. Oh, Lord. Hey, do y'all agree with them over there? They said no justice, no peace.
That's right.
Oh, my God.
Surprise.
Do y'all agree with those people over there? They said no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace is what they were saying. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. All lives matter. All lives matter. All lives matter.
Get the fuck out of here.
All lives matter. That woman was angry. She was very angry. Very angry people. Very, very angry. You're supposed to be pleasant whenever you're protesting. You're supposed to be peaceful. You're not supposed to be cursing and cussing. You're not supposed to be angry and displaying anger. Why would she have done that for? What is wrong with these people? I realize that there's gaps. There's cracks in the system that need to be repaired. The system needs to be overhauled. I understand that. But that doesn't mean it gives you a right to start cursing and displaying anger to the point of busting out windows and burning up cars and showing your anger in such of a harsh way. It's really sad. It's really sad. It's really sad. Who are you with? Who are you with? Are you with some group? It's really sad. It's really sad. So sad. Go by them one more time. I've never seen so much anger. I realize the system needs to be reformed. Let's pull right over here real quick. Wow. These people are something else. Oh my God. Back at the building again where they're hanging steel. This is going to be Martin, Tennessee's new library. It used to be the jailhouse. This is where they just causing confusion. This is where they jumped me in 2005 and tried to make me out to be a homegrown terrorist right here on this same piece of property where they're building this building at right now. Martin, Tennessee, the officials here in Martin, Tennessee was not only in behind that towards trying to stain me and ruin my reputation, but the authorities here in Weakley County went along with that too. I had Benjamin Dempsey at the time representing me. This was in 2005. Like I said, there used to be a police station right there and another building, and this is where they basically tried to destroy my life. And maybe because of the protesters being out here, maybe that's like some sort of an omen in a way towards no justice, no peace, because there wasn't no justice in what they done to my life in trying to ruin my life simply because of me passing out Bible literature, simply because of me telling an individual at a little general convenience store that that I was being very controversial in my message, and it wasn't the way that I was displaying my message, but it was just my message in general, and that I was liable to wind up on the Channel 6 News, in which a few years later, in 2009, I actually did wind up on national news there in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, towards discovering a major cover-up that occurred with the Oklahoma bombing. So my predictions was in fact true in regards towards me winding up on the Channel 6 News. For these people to have taken my words and tainted my words and perverted my words into something different just shows you what type of heathens, shows you what type of barbarians that I was dealing with at the time in 2005 right here in Martin, Tennessee, right here in Weakley County, Tennessee. Once more, they're going to do another, looks like another triple hookup. Going to do the same thing. Instead of grabbing a hold of one beam, they grab a hold of several beams. I don't know if they're going to do 2 or 3 this time. That's a neat little choker set that they got right there. And of course the longest one, the last hookup, is the one that they wind up setting first. These guys are good. It brings back so many memories in seeing them do this, because this was my original love for construction after I got out of the farming industry, farming almost all of my life until I wound up moving away from home. But yeah, there they go. They're going up in the air. Now the crane operator. Good job! Good job! Give it time to relax a little bit, and then he'll bring those 3 little beams down in that lower part, and they'll set all of them at one time. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. And of course, all these protesters over here, it's all within the same block. Good luck to all of us coming from the Windmill Ministries, and thanks for listening to what we had to say today. God bless, and no justice, no peace. Shalom.